If you're completely new to the Halo universe and are coming into it for the first time via the TV series, this can be overwhelming, to say the least, about what exactly is going on in this universe. And as long-term fans, it can be bewildering as to why there are so many differences between the Silver timeline and the mainline narrative that we're so used to. Like, for example, why are humans fighting a huge group of aliens at some point in the arbitrary future? What are Spartan super soldiers and what makes them special? Who is the Master Chief? What are the Forerunners? What is slipspace travel? And indeed, what the hell is a Halo? These are questions that many people that are coming into the Halo universe via the TV series will be asking themselves, because at least at this time, it hasn't been narratively explored yet. And that's the purpose of this video and many subsequent videos, where we will explore these particular subjects to broaden those horizons, to answer those questions, and to compare and contrast the Silver timeline against the mainline narrative to see its differences. So both rookies of the Silver timeline and the legends of old, unite and join me as we explore the Silver timeline. Roll the intro. Halo the series falls under what is known as the Silver timeline, which is an alternate telling of the events of the Halo universe, a story that has been present since 2001 but is now being reimagined in the form of an episodic TV series. And beyond the trailers and advertisement campaigns for the previous games that made it onto televisions across the world, the TV series is the first major example of the Halo universe reaching audiences that aren't gamers. This means that there are huge audiences of people who are watching Halo and learning about the universe for the first time, and are coming into an expansive narrative universe that has existed for over 20 years. It is then fully understandable that due to the sheer depth of the lore of the Halo universe, that the idea of trying to learn this and take this on board to get a better understanding of the universe is a daunting task, to say the least. Now, for those of us who have been with the franchise for its entire lifespan, played the games, read the books, we know the intimate details of the universe, but for people coming in from the TV show, they're seeing the Silver timeline, an alternate version of events, and are learning about the universe only as fast as the narrative will allow them, week by week as each episode airs, followed by large gulfs of time in between where the next season is being produced. And that's where I come in. I want to endeavour to broaden the horizons of the people who are coming across Halo for the first time via the TV series and give them the information that may be somewhat lacking in the TV series so far, to give them added context to enjoy what it is they're watching, while also simultaneously offering up expansive content on the key differences between the mainline lore and the Silver timeline for the enjoyment of the long-term fans of the games and books. This is my way of opening my arms and welcoming this new faction of the Halo community into the fold, and bestowing upon them the knowledge that we have all collectively accumulated for over 20 years, in the hopes that we all become more enriched in the process. And that's exactly what we're going to do here today, and in numerous other videos in the near future. So be sure to let me know in the comments down below what aspect of the Halo universe you want me to cover next, so that you may broaden your horizons or understand the key differences between the two timelines. So today, without getting too bogged down in finer details, we're going to explore some of the key tropes of the Halo universe that haven't really been expanded upon in the TV series so far, so that you can understand, more broadly speaking, the narrative that's going on. And really the best place to start is why humanity are fighting a group of aliens. So let's start there. The Halo universe takes place over 500 years in the future, and has a shared common history with our real world, with some differences going back before 100,000 years, but we'll get to that in a future video. So you can more or less consider that every part of human history from 100,000 years ago all the way up to the present day is exactly the same in the Halo universe. And to avoid spending too much time on it, over the coming 500 years in the Halo universe, humanity continued to expand and to grow and to become a more technologically capable species. Our fledgling space programs will very soon turn into continuous human presence in space, along with the colonization of other planets in our solar system, and as a consequence to immense technological breakthroughs in the fields of sustainable nuclear fusion technology, terraforming, space exploration, faster than light travel, and colonization. Humanity would continue to expand far beyond our own solar system. Humanity's empire would rapidly expand along the Orion arm of the Milky Way galaxy, topping out at over 800 worlds colonized across the human empire. To control and coordinate these efforts, the United Nations grew and took more and more executive control over the governance of Earth and her colonies. The United Earth Government, or UEG, would be established, and its primary military arm, the United Nations Space Command, or UNSC, would play a pivotal role in the continued expansion of the human empire. Many of the first worlds to be colonized beyond the Sol system would come to be known as the Inner Colonies, where prosperity, abundance, and 26th century luxury would be the living norm for these populations. As humanity continued to expand into star systems and territories far beyond, so these far distant worlds would be grouped together into the Outer Colonies, what would arguably be the agricultural, industrial, and suburban backbone of the human empire. And on one of these far-flung colonies, humanity would create an agricultural world known as Harvest, that would grow the lion's share of foods, crops, and produce for the immense sprawling human empire. In the year 2525, the planet Harvest would become the first planet to make first contact with an intelligent extraterrestrial species, and this first contact would rapidly deteriorate into all-out war, a war that would last over 30 years. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's learn about our enemies. The Covenant are the aliens that humanity are warring with in both the mainline lore and the Silver Timeline. The Covenant aren't a single species of aliens. As the name implies, the Covenant are a group of alien species united together under a religious ideology. Over 400 years before the classic period of ancient Greece, two alien species came into conflict with one another, the Sanshayum and the Sangheli. Both species were born and raised on their respective homeworlds in the shadows of immense ancient relics from a species known as the Foreigners. Both the Sanshayum and the Sangheli worshipped these relics and their creators as gods. The Sanshayum were a more innovative race, choosing to reverse engineer the technologies they found to learn its secrets and to advance their own technology, while the Sangheli saw the destruction and reverse engineering of these technologies as an affront to the gods. An inevitable conflict broke out between the two species, the Sanshayum being more technologically superior due to their reverse engineering of these ancient relics, but the Sangheli being much more proficient in military doctrine and combat. Both species would war with one another in a period known as the Blooding Years, until both species began to fear their own annihilation. The Sangheli feared their annihilation at the hands of the Sanshayum through their immense technological superiority, while the Sanshayum feared their annihilation because if the Sangheli were this dangerous, there may well be other species throughout the galaxy that are significantly more dangerous. A truce was brokered between the two species, and a holy writ of union was entered into between the two species, the Sanshayum and the Sangheli. The Sanshayum would become the religious leaders in this covenant, promising to lead the covenant on a holy quest to follow in their god's footsteps and take all those who are worthy on the great journey to the divine beyond, where they would all be reborn as gods. Believing this was why there were so many ancient relics left behind, the Sangheli would become the military leaders of the Covenant and were sworn to protect the Sanshayum from all threats. The two species, now united, would travel out into the galaxy and come across other species as they expanded. These species were often warred against until their own merits became apparent, and then they were either voluntarily folded into the Covenant or forced into servitude. The Covenant would continue to grow in numbers and strength as they continued to expand through the galaxy, searching for ancient Foreigner relics to usher them along the path of the Great Journey. The conglomerate of alien species would come across humanity for the first time on their planet of Harvest, and whilst many within the Covenant thought that this new species would make a welcome addition to the hegemony, the trifecta leaders of the Covenant did not agree. These three holy leaders of the Covenant, known as the Prophet of Truth, Mercy, and Regret, were relatively new to their role, having politically destabilized their predecessors and seized power for themselves. Whilst seeking blessings for their reign from a holy oracle, an ancient Foreigner artificial intelligence, the prophets were discussing this planet with this new species known as humanity, and commented that the planet itself was littered in Foreigner relics, with these relics being detected from orbit from a reverse-engineered device of Foreigner origin. The prophets believed that with this planet covered in Foreigner relics, ready for reclamation, that they only had to seek the blessing of the oracle, that their reign would be galvanized as a divine right. After eons of silence, the oracle chose to speak, and to enlighten the three new prophets to the mistaken translation of the Foreigner symbols being displayed across the planet. These symbols did not represent relics to be reclaimed, but instead represented reclaimers, the species that the Foreigners themselves had chosen to be the inheritors of all they left behind. Humanity were the chosen species. This revelation caused the prophets to realize that if this information ever got out, their power and influence would evaporate, their sacred promise would be null and void, the Covenant would fall apart, and the prophets themselves would be nothing. In this moment, the choice was made to declare humanity an affront to the gods, and that the entire species would need to be exterminated with extreme prejudice. And so began the religiously motivated genocide of the human species. The Covenant, being immensely more technologically sophisticated than humanity at this stage, would raise world after world, colony after colony, leaving none alive. The Covenant would arrive in a human system, lay siege to the colony, destroy orbital defences, land groundside and recover any relics of value, and then retreat to orbit once more to orbitally bombard the planet with their plasma weapons, in a process the Covenant called cleansing, and humanity came to call glassing. Over the following 27 years, the Covenant would reduce the immense and sprawling human empire of over 800 colonies to just a handful. And where the Silver Timeline begins is in these closing months of the year 2552, with the Covenant about to attack Reach, humanity's military stronghold with a population of 703.3 million people, and on Earth's doorstep. The year 2552 is a pinnacle year in the timeline of Halo, and is the year that the Silver Timeline takes place within. The TV show is still in its infancy, and the Silver Timeline hasn't specifically stated that these series of events that led to humans and the Covenant coming into conflict are any different in the Silver Timeline than they are in the mainline lore. At this stage, there is no reason to believe otherwise, but of course, if new information becomes available in subsequent seasons of the TV show that are in juxtaposition to what we've established here, of course, I will amend that with future videos. But in the meantime, now you know why humanity and the Covenant are at war, and a very brief history of the Halo universe. Remember to pop into the comments what it is you'd like me to cover next, to compare and contrast between the Silver Timeline and the mainline lore, and expand on the narrative driven by the Silver Timeline thus far. And until next time.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider smashing the like button and leave a comment below on what you'd like me to cover next. Big shout out to my patrons, Spartan10148, the Metarch of my installation, Falcon, Prophet Bear, Mikhail, Sophia, and Ashley, my dutiful monitors, Darian, Scarab, Spartan0137, Anthony, Ghost, Aaron, Chris, Jacob, Sean, Element Zero, Somatic, Jordan J3, Dan, Mr. Keys, Directal, Gunslinger, Jacob, Bandmill, Echo, Evermore, Officer Cat, and Personal Devil, my diligent sub-monitors, my fleet of Strato Sentinels, and my loyal enforcers. And all the other patrons who have jumped aboard to support the channel. It means more to me than I can accurately put into words. Another shout out to my Tier 0 Transcendent YouTube members, Spartan137, Jacob, Schmitty, Talia, Fenrir and Born Stellar, and all the other YouTube members keeping my installation running on that glorious vacuum energy. Shout out to John for I don't fucking know. And if you want more of this kind of content, hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you don't miss any future videos, and consider jumping aboard yourself as a patron or YouTube member to keep the channel alive and kicking. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy everyone, and find peace in the domain.